The most dangerous thing inside you isn't your darkness. It's the part of yourself you've spent your whole life hiding. Today, you'll discover why your shadow isn't your enemy and how it can become your greatest source of strength.
There's a version of you that you've spent your whole life apologizing for. The version that gets angry and doesn't say sorry for it. The version that wants more and admits it out loud. The version that says no and doesn't explain why. The version that walks out of a room mid-conversation because the conversation stopped deserving her attention and doesn't circle back later to smooth it over. You buried that version so deep you started calling the burial growth. You call it being mature, being easy to work with, being nice. It isn't growth, it's amputation, and everyone around you applauds it because a person with no teeth is easier to be around than a person with a spine. Your parents rewarded it. Your teachers rewarded it. Every institution you've ever passed through rewarded the version of you that took up the least room and called that reward approval, so you kept paying for it with pieces of yourself, one at a time. For so long you stopped noticing the transaction. The limb didn't disappear. It's still attached. It's just numb and it's rotting, and that exhaustion you feel by 3 in the afternoon, every single day, that's the dead weight dragging behind you, whether you look down at it or not. Somewhere inside you is something you were trained to fear. Somewhere inside you is a person who can walk into a room and take exactly what they want, without flinching, without performing gratitude for it afterward. You've met this person before. Briefly, in a flash of anger, you apologize for all week. In a moment of selfishness, you're still making up for, months later, to a person who never even noticed you'd done anything wrong. In the one meeting where you finally said the true thing instead of the easy thing, and felt the room shift, and spent the drive home convinced you'd ruined something, when what you'd actually done was be seen for the first time in months, you called it your worst self. It might be the only self strong enough to get you what you actually want. You've been told your whole life that the goal is to become someone kinder, someone easier, someone smaller and softer around every edge that used to catch on something. Nobody ever asked whether that was the goal you'd have picked yourself, given the choice, before the choice got made for you by people who benefited from your silence. What if the thing you've spent your life bearing isn't in your way? What if it's the way? Being the good one has a bill attached and nobody shows you the total until it's already due. Every time you swallow your anger instead of using it, you pay a toll. Every time you smile at someone who insulted you, you pay a toll. Every time you say it's fine when it isn't fine, the charge goes on to a tab you can't see until your body hands you the invoice, in the form of a tiredness that sleep doesn't touch. You think you're calm, you're not. What you actually are is occupied. An entire department of your mind works overtime, every hour of every day, with one job, keeping the parts of you that scare people locked in a basement. That takes energy, a staggering amount of it. It's the reason you can put in a full day of real work and still feel like you did nothing, because the actual labor of your day was never the work itself. It was the management around the work, the pre-apologizing for opinions you haven't even stated yet. You've trained yourself to flinch before you get hit. I said the wrong number out loud once at a table with 4 other people and watched my own hand come up to apologize for it before the sentence had even finished landing. Nobody at that table was angry. I was already sorry for something nobody had asked me to be sorry for. That's not politeness. That's a reflex installed so early you can't remember the installation, and you've been running on it ever since. You know the meeting. Someone repeats your idea back to the room 2 minutes after you said it, in a slightly louder voice, and gets the nod you didn't get. You feel the heat come up your neck. You say nothing. You call it picking your battles. Watch that phrase closely, because it's doing a lot of work for you. It lets you believe you're choosing restraint, when what's actually happening is you're avoiding a version of yourself you don't trust yourself to control once she's out of the box. It's not just the meeting, it's the relationship where you've become the one who remembers birthdays, absorbs moods, and asks if everything's okay, while nobody asks you the same question back, because you trained them not to. You built that arrangement one small accommodation at a time, and now you resent people for accepting terms you're the one who offered. That resentment isn't their fault. It's the shadow's way of sending you a bill for a debt you never told anyone you were keeping. You watch someone cut in front of you, literally, figuratively, and you let it happen and call it being the bigger person. You are not being the bigger person. You are being the smaller one, on purpose, because somewhere along the way you decided that wanting things, defending things, being angry about things made you dangerous. So you disarmed yourself, voluntarily, and you've been losing gracefully ever since. Your body has been keeping a record you haven't read. The clenched jaw at night, the tight chest before meetings where you know you'll stay quiet again, the stomach that's been off for months for no reason a doctor can find, the headache that shows up at the exact same hour every single day, like it's clocking in. None of that is random. That's instinct with nowhere left to go, so it settled into your body instead because it had nowhere else to go and you never gave it a job. You've tried to fix this the conventional way. You bought the book with the sunrise on the cover, read 4 chapters, and put it on the shelf next to the last one that didn't work either. For a while it seems to help, the way a coat of paint helps a wall with a crack running through it. Then the crack shows through again because you painted over the structure instead of repairing it. That's the trap of most self-improvement. It teaches you to hide better. It never once asks what's doing the hiding or why you agreed to it in the first place. It hands you better tools for managing a self you've never actually met and calls that progress, and you believe it, because progress that doesn't require confronting anything underneath is the most comfortable kind of progress there is. Every trait you locked away didn't vanish when you locked it up. It went underground. And things that go underground don't die. They mutate. Your anger with no target turns into headaches, into snapping at people who didn't deserve it, into 3 days of silence over something you never said out loud. Your envy, never once admitted, turns into scrolling someone's life at midnight, feeling sick and calling it just checking in. Your selfishness, not even an hour of daylight, turns into a slow, creeping bitterness toward every person you've ever overgiven to, who never once had to ask you for anything, because you handed it over before they'd even finish the sentence. You are not broken, you are occupied territory, and the thing occupying it is you. There's a name for what you've locked in the basement. Psychologists call it the shadow. Not evil, not a demon. Everything about you that got rejected by a parent, a teacher, a room full of people you needed to approve of you, long before you were old enough to decide whether the rejection was even fair. A child doesn't reason about which traits are acceptable. A child watches which traits get punished and which get rewarded and adjusts instantly, like a thermostat. Anger got you sent to your room, so anger got buried. Wanting too much got you called greedy, so wanting got buried. Standing up for yourself got you called difficult, so your spine got buried right alongside it. You learned the lesson so well you can't even remember learning it, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. A rule that old doesn't feel like a rule anymore. It feels like your personality. Picture the actual scene if you can still find it. A raised voice, a door closed a little too hard, a look across a dinner table that told you exactly which parts of you were welcome and which parts needed to leave the room. You were 6 or 8 or 11, and you didn't have the vocabulary yet to argue with the verdict, so you just complied with it, the way children comply with everything that threatens the supply of love they depend on to survive. What got buried didn't stop being part of you. It just stopped being visible, to you most of all. There's a second piece that replaced it, a mask built for public consumption, agreeable, competent, easy to manage, endlessly accommodating. Worn so long that most people forget it was ever a mask. They start to believe the mask is the face. The wider the gap between the mask and the basement, the faster you run out of energy, because every hour spent holding up a partial self is an hour not spent living as a whole one. And here's the part that should actually unsettle you. What you don't face, you act out. You will spend your life hating, in other people, the exact traits you refuse to admit live in you. The coworker whose confidence borders on arrogance and infuriates you out of all proportion to anything he actually did, you're not angry at him. You're angry at the version of you that's never been allowed to take up that much space. The friend whose life looks effortless from the outside. The one you quietly root against just a little. That isn't judgment. That's grief for a version of your own life you never let yourself attempt. Even Nietzsche knew it. He didn't just warn that fighting monsters can turn you into one. He said the fight changes you either way, whether you face it honestly or pretend it isn't there. Pretending doesn't protect you. It just means the monster wins from inside the walls instead of outside them. You are not being asked to become cruel. You are not being asked to burn every relationship down in the name of authenticity. That's not integration. That's an unsupervised animal with access to your mouth. Integration is colder than that and more useful. You stop treating your anger, your ambition, your selfishness, and your appetite as enemies to exile, and you start treating them as tools to train. A dog locked in a cage, its whole life is dangerous the moment the door opens. A dog that's been trained is dangerous only to what you pointed at. Right now, your shadow is the caged dog, untrained, leaking out sideways in ways that cost you things you actually wanted, jobs you didn't ask for, raises you didn't name, people who walked all over ground you never marked as yours. The goal isn't a tighter cage. You've tried that every year, and every year the leash gets weaker, not stronger. The goal is to open the door yourself, on your terms, and teach the thing inside to sit, to heal, and to strike exactly when you tell it to. Jung had a word for what's on the other side of this. Individuation, not becoming a better person in the small, agreeable sense, becoming a whole one. Someone who has met every part of themselves, including the parts they were told to disown, and put each one to work instead of standing guard over it for the rest of their life. It looks smaller than people expect from the outside. It looks like someone who says what they mean the first time instead of the fourth. It looks like someone who can sit in a disagreement without needing it resolved in the next 30 seconds, because they're no longer negotiating with a part of themselves that's terrified of the conflict. Almost nobody gets there by accident. It has to be built, the same way muscle gets built, which is the part most people skip, because it's easier to keep hating the caged dog than to spend the months it takes to train it. Here is how you begin. Not someday, not after another book. Today in 3 moves. First, understand what this isn't. This is not permission to become cruel or reckless or to treat your relationships like target practice for anger you just unlocked. That doesn't integrate anything. It just trades one kind of broken for a louder one, and it burns down exactly what you were trying to protect. What follows is closer to weapons training than to a tantrum. Controlled, aimed. If you're looking for permission to finally say the cruel thing you've been sitting on, close this and go find it somewhere else, because that's not what this is. Step 1, audit the mirror. Take a sheet of paper, not your phone, and write down the last 3 people who irritated you out of proportion to anything they actually did. Next to each name, write the exact trait that set you off. Arrogance, bluntness, the way they charge full price without apologizing for it. Now sit with an ugly question. Where in your life have you refused yourself permission to do the exact same thing? This is a forensic exercise, not a self-esteem one. The people who trigger you are handing you a map of your own basement, drawn by your own nervous system, and most people never bother to read it. Read it, then run it backward. Write down 3 traits you privately admire, but would never claim out loud for yourself. The friend who negotiates without apologizing, the colleague who leaves at 5 with no guilt, the stranger online who states an opinion with 0 disclaimers. Admiration that's sharp is rarely neutral. It's usually envy wearing a nicer name, pointing straight at a trait you've disowned. Sit with both lists side by side for a minute before you do anything else. Notice that they're describing the same handful of traits from 2 directions. Rage on one side, longing on the other, and both are pointing at the same locked room. Step 2. Rehearse the trait in low stakes on purpose. You don't unlock a buried trait with one dramatic breakthrough. You build it the way you build anything, in small doses, where nothing bad happens if you get it wrong. Try this. The next time someone asks you for something you don't want to give, say, "That doesn't work for me," and give them nothing else, no reason. No cushion. Watch how badly you want to add one. If it's ambition you've buried, say a number out loud to another person before you've had time to talk yourself out of it. A price, a raise, a want, and don't let your voice soften it on the way out. If it's your right to disappoint people, pick one low-stakes moment this week and let someone down on purpose. Decline the invitation you'd normally force yourself into. Watch what actually happens afterward, which is almost always nothing, compared to what your imagination has been billing you for years. And if it's your right to simply be angry, the next time it flares, don't swallow it and don't perform it either. Just let your face do what it wants to do for 3 full seconds before you smooth it over, and notice that the building doesn't fall down. None of this is supposed to feel natural yet. It's supposed to feel like lifting a weight you haven't touched in years. That discomfort is the muscle waking up. Do it badly at first if you have to. Say the sentence too flat, too abrupt, watch it land wrong once or twice. That's not failure. That's a muscle that hasn't fired in years remembering how. Step 3, redirect it. Don't release it. This is where people who dabble in this get it wrong and end up worse off than before. They treat the unlocking as permission to detonate, to finally say every unfiltered thing, act on every impulse, and call the wreckage authenticity. That's not integration. That's an animal off the leash for the first time in years, and it will bite the wrong person. Every trait you unbury needs a job, not an outlet. Take your envy and make it intelligence. The next time that sick, comparative pull hits you, don't suppress it and don't wallow in it, interrogate it. Write down exactly what they have that you want, not the vague version, the specific one, their negotiation skill, their consistency, their willingness to be disliked. That list is a training manual built by the most honest part of you, the part that doesn't lie to make you feel better. Take your anger and make it architecture. Every time it flares, ask what line just got crossed, then build a standing rule so it doesn't get crossed silently again. Stop treating anger like weather. Start treating it like a report. And your selfishness, that one just needs a schedule. Block the hour that belongs to nobody but you, and defend it the way you defend a meeting with someone you couldn't afford to stand up. Set the price and don't apologize for the number. Say the one out loud before you've had time to shrink it. Not as rebellion, as maintenance. The same way you'd service something you plan on running for another 30 years. Do this for 30 days and something underneath you changes. Not your personality, your baseline. The traits you spent years bracing against stop feeling like intruders and start feeling like backup. You stop being surprised by your own anger. You stop being ashamed of your own ambition. You start reaching for the trait the moment calls for, instead of reaching for the one mask that's fit every moment the same forgettable way. Here's the part that isn't comfortable, and comfort never built anything worth having. The people whose presence unsettles you. The ones who walk into a room without shrinking, who say the number, who take the credit they earned without flinching, who disappoint people calmly and sleep fine that night. They are not more evolved than you. They have simply stopped being afraid of what's inside them. That's the entire gap. Not talent, not luck, not some genetic allowance for confidence you weren't issued. They looked at the thing in the basement, and instead of adding another lock, they opened the door and taught it to work for them. You've spent years treating your own depths like a threat to be managed. All that energy poured into staying palatable, staying easy, staying nice. It had a use once. It kept a child safe in a world where being seen fully was dangerous. You are not that child anymore. And the world you're operating in now does not reward the silence that protected you back then. It rewards exactly the opposite. There's a kind of person who unsettles a room without raising their voice, not because they're louder, but because there's no gap between what they feel and what they'll admit to feeling. You've been trying to build that same weight from the outside for years. The right words, the right posture, the right amount of confidence performed on command. And it never fully lands because it's coming from the mask instead of the whole person underneath it. It can't be performed. It only gets assembled, piece by piece, out of the exact parts you've spent a lifetime disowning. Think about every negotiation you've lost, not because you lack the facts, but because you couldn't stomach the discomfort of asking for more. Now think about something worse. Every room you've sat in, saying nothing, while someone with half your understanding took the floor and walked out with the opportunity that should have been yours, the one you'd already earned and never claimed, because claiming it would have meant admitting you wanted it in the first place. None of that was a talent gap, it was a permission gap. And permission isn't granted from the outside, it's issued from the same basement you've been guarding your whole life. Every year you keep the door locked, the toll goes up. The version of you that could have had that negotiation, that relationship, that room, doesn't come back later to try again once you're finally ready. She ages out. He ages out. The opportunity doesn't wait outside the basement door for you to work up the nerve. It moves on to the next person willing to open theirs, and you're left telling yourself a story about timing when the actual story was always about permission. That's the real cost of guarding the door, not the anger you never expressed, but the entire life that was built around never expressing it. So stop asking how to become a better person. That question just keeps you polishing the mask. Ask how to become a complete one. Completeness was never going to be comfortable, and it was never going to be popular with everyone currently benefiting from the incomplete version of you. Some of them will miss her. Let them. Not the version of you that's easiest to be around. The version that's hardest to move, hardest to manipulate, hardest to talk out of what it wants, because it finally stopped negotiating with its own instincts and started giving them orders. Somewhere in you is something you've been calling a monster. Stop guarding the door. Start giving it orders.
Your shadow was never meant to control you. It was meant to become your greatest strength. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and leave a like. There are many more powerful ideas waiting for you.